Before we get started with today's Local Government News Roundup, some news from the VLGA. Registrations are now open for Fast Track 2026, the VLGA's national one-day annual conference focused on incivility and its threat to local democracy. This event will bring together stakeholders from across the local government sector to address the rise of incivility in public discourse and its impact on democratic processes. It will explore how hostile behaviour, misinformation and the erosion of respectful dialogue threatens the effectiveness, safety and integrity of local governance. Participants will examine the causes of incivility, its consequences for elected representatives, council staff and civic engagement, and examine practical strategies for fostering respectful communication and resilience in the face of hostility. Book before December 31 and secure early bird prices. To register or find out more, visit the events page of the VLGA website at vlga.org.au. Coming up on the roundup, a Merri-bek councillor to be suspended for misconduct. A councillor accosted in public over a controversial pool decision. The New South Wales Council set to fly the Palestinian flag. Environmental vandalism under investigation by Noosa Council. A Queensland council's calls for help with a recent crime spike. A South Australian mayor resigns, effective immediately. And Perth's Lord Mayor abandons a controversial workplace culture review. That's all just ahead on Australia's #1 local government podcast, the Local Government News Roundup. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy, back with more news from and about councils across Australia and beyond. Also today we go live to Las Vegas in the States, where Fergal Coleman from Symphony 3 is at the AWS reInvent conference, getting the lowdown on where AI technology is taking us in the very near future. The Roundup is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. Good to have you here. It's Friday the 5th of December. Merri-bek councillor Adam Pulford will be suspended for 14 days after an arbiter made a finding of misconduct for breaches of 3 of the standards of conduct in the Model Councillor Code of Conduct. A complaint was made by Councillor Oscar Yildiz alleging that the breaches occurred during debate on an agenda item about rainbow crossings. Councillor Yildiz alleged that Councillor Pulford's comments during debate personalised rather than engaged respectfully on the issue. Councillor Pulford was criticised for his use of the word duplicitousness and failing to pause sufficiently during debate. Arbiter Matthew Evans found that Councillor Pulford did not treat Councillor Yildiz with dignity, fairness, objectivity, courtesy and respect, and that his demeanour and lack of restraint in his personal remarks likely diminished public trust and confidence in the council. The arbiter considered Councillor Pulford's partial apology for the hurt caused and full cooperation with the arbitration process in determining a 14-day period of suspension. He chose not to impose the requirement for an apology, considering that the outcome of the process should be corrective, not performative. The suspension will take effect next week after the arbiter's report is tabled at the council's December 10th meeting. It's now available online in the council agenda papers for that meeting. A Moyne Shire councillor has been verbally abused and given the middle finger over the decision to close Port Fairy's Belfast Aquatics pool. The Standard reported that Councillor Karen Foster was accosted at a service station on Saturday morning by an angry resident. The incident follows the council's announcement that $2 million worth of repairs are needed at the facility. A petition to save the pool has attracted more than 1,500 signatures. Councillor Foster, a former mayor of the Shire, is calling for respectful debate despite community anger over the closure. The Department of Health has confirmed the first detection of Japanese encephalitis virus in mosquitoes for the 2025-26 season in the Horsham region. The virus was found in mosquito traps as part of Victoria's arbovirus disease control program. Yarriambiack Shire and Horsham Rural City Council have issued alerts to residents to protect themselves by wearing long clothing, using repellent and removing stagnant water around homes. Vaccinations are available for locals over 2 months old from local pharmacies and health centres. Warrnambool City Council has missed out on $1 million in state government funding for the Friendly Societies Park Oval upgrade. The council will now tip in an extra $350,000 to keep the $1.73 million project alive. South Warrnambool Football Netball Club has also increased its contribution to $200,000. The Standard reported on that story, as well as news that Warrnambool Council's Infrastructure and Environment Director David Lay is leaving after 5 years in the role. Mr Lay, a former Chief Executive of West Wimmera Shire, oversaw some of Warrnambool's biggest projects in the past decade. He plans to stay in Warrnambool and pick up short-term work rather than fully retire, according to The Standard. Murrindindi Shire Council has released draft guidelines for renewable energy development, open for community feedback until next February. The guidelines respond to growing concern about large-scale energy projects and their impact on farming, tourism and the local landscape. Deputy Mayor Anita Carr says the framework puts community values first, demanding genuine engagement, transparency and tangible local benefits from developers. The council is urging all residents to review their draft and share their views. Frankston City Council is investing $10 million into the transformation of Nepean Highway, joining the federal government's $50 million election commitment for a total $60 million project. The revitalisation will turn the highway into a safe, people-focused boulevard with improved connections between the city centre and the waterfront. Mayor Chris Bolam says the investment will encourage visitors to stop in Frankston rather than simply drive through. After nearly 10 years of planning and 3 years of construction, Omeo Mountain Bike Park officially opens today with 114 kilometres of world-class trails. The network in East Gippsland Shire includes trails for every skill level, from family-friendly green trails to double black gravity descents with up to 590 metres of vertical drop. The opening weekend will feature official ceremonies, shuttle rides, live music and a film premiere. And the City of Port Phillip has welcomed a $12 million Victorian Liberal Party election commitment for a new school hall at St Kilda Primary School. The commitment was announced by Member for Paran, Rachel Westaway, and it would fund a multi-purpose indoor hall and performing arts space. The council has praised St Kilda Primary School's vigorous advocacy campaign for the project. More Victorian Council news in brief. The City of Casey is proposing to rezone 2 parcels of farming land in Cranbourne for residential development to meet growing housing demand near the town centre. An environmental assessment confirms the land is suitable for homes, despite being near 2 former landfill sites. Warrnambool's first pump track is now open, funded by a $150,000 Australian government grant as part of the council's efforts to enhance active recreation along the Merri River corridor. Mayor Ben Blaine said he expected the facility to be an instant hit as it opens just in time for summer. And Latrobe City Council has endorsed funding for 3 major events with a combined economic impact of more than $6.5 million. They include the Motorcycling Australia Pro MX, Football Victoria's Country Championships, and a 5-year agreement for the Traralgon Junior International Tennis Championships. It's the Friday edition of the Local Government News Roundup, the 5th of December. This is episode number 525, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, with another edition of VLGA Connect coming your way later today on YouTube and podcast. One of my guests is Councillor Kylie Spears from Maroondah City Council, fresh from winning the inaugural Mary Rogers Award. We'll talk about what that means to Kylie and for the sector more broadly. And our Meet the Board series will continue as well, plus more of the latest news from around Victoria. VLGA Connect coming away later today. News from New South Wales. Wollongong City Council is set to fly the Palestinian flag for 4 days from today outside the council building on Borelli Street. The symbolic gesture recognises the local Islamic community's contributions and follows a council resolution from August that reaffirmed Wollongong as a city for peace. The move comes after the Australian government's recognition of the state of Palestine at the United Nations in September. Bayside Council has issued a statement defending its decision to end its lease with the family behind Lasanne's restaurant after more than 40 years. The council says the Antonopoulos family repeatedly breached their lease agreement and owes more than $100,000 in outstanding payments. The Brighton Pavilion building is now in need of substantial repairs worth an estimated $1.5 million, with many defects attributed to lack of maintenance by the former tenant. Work is underway to repair the building and reactivate the pavilion for community benefit. Shoalhaven City Council has raised concerns about the proposed location for a new school in the region. The council believes the site may not be suitable for educational purposes. Issues include access, infrastructure and environmental factors that could impact students and staff. Mayor Patricia White is calling for further consultation with the state government, and the council is urging planners to consider alternative locations that better meet community needs. Inner West Mayor Darcy Byrne has organised a rally to save the West's Tigers following the dismissal of all independent directors from the club's board. The rally will be held on Saturday, December 31st, with fans marching to West Ashfield Leagues Club to demand the resignation of the Holman Barnes Group board. Mayor Byrne is calling on the NRL and Liquor and Gaming New South Wales to intervene in the club's governance crisis. He says the same people responsible for 15 years of failure have now seized total control. And Balranald Shire Council has triumphed from hundreds of nominations to win at the 2025 Community Achievement Awards for New South Wales and the ACT for transforming the Balranald Discovery Centre project. The project won the Council Crown Land Management Excellence Award for the upgrade of Heritage Park Reserve, with interactive technology, new pavilions and facilities that blend modern infrastructure with local heritage. And in more award news, Leeton Shire Council picked up the Local Government New South Wales Environment Award for the exceptional success of its FOGO waste service. The curbside service, introduced in July last year, achieved a 60% diversion of organic waste from landfill in its first week, with just 0.3% contamination. Kiama Council has unveiled a new online policy portal to improve public access to council policies. The digital platform aims to make it easier for residents to find and review important council documents. And 5 local operators have joined the City of Newcastle's Product Mentoring Development program, aiming to develop bookable tourism experiences to tap into the city's $1.5 billion annual visitor market. With Newcastle Airport expanding international routes, the program is helping businesses create experiences that give tourists more reasons to stay longer. The Local Government News Roundup is very pleased to have the ongoing support of Symphony 3. And right now, Fergal Coleman, the founder of Symphony 3, is in Las Vegas. And I gather, Fergal, a little bit overwhelmed by what you're seeing there at the AWS reInvent conference.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And look, thanks for having me on. I know before I went, I was telling you about it and you gave me a little bit of heads up about the scale of everything here. But this is obviously the AWS, Amazon Web Services yearly conference. There's 60,000 people here. It's like nothing I've ever seen. I went in to have a meal in the restaurant, one of the 5 restaurants yesterday. Yeah. I think you could seat about 4,000 people in it. It was like the Crown Palladium multiplied.
And this 60,000 you're talking about is just for the conference. And anytime I've been to Vegas, there's been multiple conferences going on. So the scale of it is just enormous, isn't it?
That's right. And I think some of the things that kind of come out of me is that obviously AWS are one of probably the 3 big cloud providers. And, the cloud is what's driving so much of our world at the moment. They've got expos on Amazon in the home, everything from, Prime and how it can be used with agents through to online shopping. They've even got a demo of their drones that are working in 7 cities and dropping deliveries to people with their own drones. They've got autonomous vehicles that I was sitting in. And that's kind of on the fringes. They've got a whole sports section, a whole sports area where you're looking at how analytics and AI has been used in sport. And then obviously crux of the conversation is around how businesses and organizations can use this technology. And really the big thrust is agentic AI.
Agentic AI, you say? That's a new term on me. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, so I guess what we're used to over the last 2 years is the likes of ChatGPT, which are chatbots, for want of a better term, intelligent chatbots. We're now getting to the stage where, what's the best way to explain it? You're not just talking to the agent and it's going off and coming back with answers. You can actually understand what we're saying. it reasons, it can go away and act, and it can come back and respond to you. So it can go and actually do tasks for you.
Right. So,
So,
Fergal, what about from a government point of view and local government more specifically? What are you seeing that you think might have some impact not that far down the track on the world of local government?
well, I think look, these agents are going to change the whole space. So, been able to take an online form that someone fills on a website, maybe done through actually an interface, a chat interface. You'll give this agent information. It'll know who you are. It'll go in and find your information. So it might be an application for something that you're looking for. It'll go and be able to research your input in 5, 6 different systems, pull that information together, and put your application together for you and say, yeah, this person qualifies for X, Y, and Z. An application of some sort, and then actually issue with the permit or an application and send you an invoice without any human intervention. And
So,
this has escalated. I've been around the technology space probably since the .com era. The speed of change is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it in the last 2 years from when we've gone to the first release of ChatGPT to agentic. I spoke to an AWS agentic developer today. He said, look, our engineers can't keep up. The pace of change is that much. He showed me an example of being able to whiteboard an application, maybe something like I explained to you there with an online form application. Whiteboard it, you feed it into the agent can interpret it, go away and create the code and create the program for you and deploy the program.
wow.
So
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? And as you say, the pace of change is like nothing we've seen before. Realistically, how soon do you see this sort of technology changing the way, for example, your smart glue application works with councils? Are we going to see that start to happen soon?
Yeah, we're starting to use it, and we're working on an agent at the moment around infringements. Of course, the tools got that much better. It's a lot easier to do now. So some of the things that we've seen, that Amazon have released a thing called Quick that actually will allow business owners or business people to create agents of their own, create workflows. Some of the things that have really been worrying me is the cost around using large language models. These tools now will go and pick the most cost-effective and most appropriate language model for you behind the scenes. So we're getting to a stage where it's almost drag and drop. If you know the problem and you can define the problem, you'll be able to create an agent. So we're going to see millions of agents sitting in every council, every organisation. What I will say, and I've been saying this, and you've heard me harping on about this for a long time, is data becomes increasingly important. So security is obviously a big thing, identity and permissions, and then actually making sure that your data is clean. And I think that's the big failing and the big holdback that councils have had traditionally and are going to continue to have. And look, I think it's probably because cleaning your data, it's very hard it's a costly exercise, and it's very hard for somebody with the purse strings to say, what's the return on investment of me cleaning my data? So that's something we need to go and work on, I suppose, and get clear to council CEOs. But I can tell you, if you clean your data and you get good data and you make your data accessible to these tools, I'm more convinced than ever that these agentic tools are going to revolutionize how we deliver services in local government. I'll give you one example.
Please.
Citizen experience. So, we've got people will use Teams. Amazon have their tool called Amazon Connect, which is a telephony solution. They're now building agents into their telephony solutions that are smart. So you can make a phone call. It can be a triage to either a real person or an agent. The agent is smart enough to reason what you're saying to it. It can go away and search for that information in the systems, as I explained earlier, and it can come back and actually tell you how to act, what you need to do, respond to it. It can do it in any language. So if you think that you only got, English speakers in your call center, your agent was able to translate. I think they have 25 languages now.
Yeah. But as you say, you've got to have the data in the background clean and ready to be used for those purposes. If it's garbage, you're going to get garbage out.
Yeah. And you're going to have to keep humans in the loop. So, if you take that example, I don't think we're going to go straight to agents in councils. necessarily. What we will probably see is a human and AI. But, a human answers the citizen on the telephone. There's an AI listening in. The human is talking to the citizen. At the same time, the AI is, analysing the sentiment, analysing the needs, going away and doing the research, coming back and suggesting the next steps, and potentially actually completing the next steps and the tasks while the call is going on.
Fascinating stuff, Fergal. How long are you there for?
Here for another 2 days, Chris. And then I'm going home for a well-deserved rest, I think.
And Vegas in general, first time visit for you. Are you going to take in some shows, or what? How are you going to make the most of this experience?
I haven't had time, but these guys lay on everything. So we've had parties. They have an end of a conference party called Replay that they reckon there's 100,000 people show up at this party at the end of the conference. So that's an MCG size party that will be going on. So I'll take some photographs and videos, and I'll send you the feedback, I suppose.
Look forward to
I was younger.
Look forward to seeing those and hearing more of your insights from this. Thanks, Fergal, for your time. You go and get back to it. You don't want to miss out.
Great. Appreciate it, Chris. We'll see you anon. We get back in the real world of Melbourne, and not this kind of fantasy world of Las Vegas.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Fergal.
Thank you.
I'm just a little bit jealous. Vegas is one of my favourite places to visit. Thanks to Fergal and the team at Symphony 3 for their ongoing support for the Local Government News Roundup. Let's get back to the news. And out of Queensland, Noosa Council is investigating a deliberate act of environmental vandalism at Sunshine Beach. 6 native trees have been poisoned with boreholes drilled and chemicals applied. The affected species are all critical for dune stabilisation and wildlife protection. The Council's Director of Development and Regulation, Richard McGillivray, has made an appeal to the community for help.
This is a very callous and cold act of environmental vandalism. There's no two ways about it. Particularly in cases of environmental vandalism where it's so blatant like this, where poisoning on vegetation occurs. We're really calling on the community to help us with this. Council has the onus of proving all the elements of the offence, and we really require the community to come together and support us with anyone that may have some information or witnessed something occurring in the last few weeks in that location to come forward and contact Council immediately.
Mr McGillivray said the Council would be carrying out rehabilitation works and installing temporary signage to deter others from similar actions. Queensland Police Minister Dan Purdy has promised more state flying squad detectives will arrive in South Burnett next week to tackle a recent crime spike. The minister met with Attorney General Deb Frecklington, senior police and council representatives on Tuesday to discuss juvenile crime and community safety concerns. The minister's acknowledged more work needs to be done following serious concerns raised by South Burnett and Cherbourg councils. Hervey Bay Airport has recorded its strongest month ever, with 21,654 passengers passing through in October. Melbourne and Sydney routes are averaging 92% capacity. Fraser Coast Mayor George Seymour says the record numbers are fantastic news for the Fraser Coast economy and tourism sector. Cookshire Council has secured federal funding through the Solar for Public Facilities program for major upgrades at the Cooktown Events Centre and Bloomfield Hall. The Events Centre will receive undercover solar parking, similar to a recent installation at the council's main building, helping to cut its $100,000 annual electricity bill. Scenic Rim Council has secured 3 major state and national awards to close out the year, including a silver award at the Australasian Reporting Awards. The Beaudesert Town Centre Revitalisation Project earned 2 honours at the IPWEA Conference, Road Safety and Public Works Project of the Year, and the region also won gold for excellence in food tourism at the Queensland Tourism Awards for the Scenic Rim Eat Local movement. CEO David Keenan says the wins placed the Scenic Rim among the better performing regional councils in Queensland. 30 council-managed roads in the Clarence City Council area in Tasmania are set for a speed limit review after strong community feedback. Residents nominated 75 roads during the Safer Speeds, Safer Roads engagement, with 6 additional roads now added to the shortlist. The review aims to reduce crash risks for pedestrians, cyclists and drivers on busy local routes. Mahalia White-McColl has won the 2025 Kingborough Council Acquisition Award for her sculpture Still Standing. The piece combines recycled steel and ceramic mounted on an old sawmill cog. Its unique glaze is made from hardwood ash from local Tasmanian fires. Acting Mayor Claire Glade-Wright praised the work for its artistic merit and environmental themes. The sculpture will be added to the Kingborough Sculpture Trail. 5 Tasmanian councils will share in $2.2 million from the federal government as part of a $50 million national program to upgrade community facilities with energy-efficient technology, including solar panels, batteries and electric heating systems. Those 5 councils are Meander Valley, Latrobe, Sorell, Burnie and Georgetown. And the City of Launceston has won an Excellence Award from the Local Government Association of Tasmania for using Minecraft as a community engagement tool. Since 2021, Launceston has used LiDAR scans to create Minecraft maps of the city, allowing gamers to explore local landmarks. More than 800 northern Tasmanian students tested the maps during National Science Week, and Mayor Matthew Garwood says it's given young people a chance to reimagine their city's open spaces and urban planning. From South Australia, Mayor Robert Walsh has resigned from the District Council of Franklin Harbour, effective on the 2nd of December. Councillor Walsh served the community for 11 years with what Council calls high distinction and integrity. Deputy Mayor Rachel Deere is now acting in the mayoral role, while the council seeks advice from the Electoral Commission on conducting a supplementary election to fill the vacancy. The City of Mount Gambier has formally opposed the federal government's Environment Protection Reform Bill. The council fears the legislation gives too much power to the Environment Minister to approve projects in the national interest without proper consultation. Mayor Lynette Martin says the changes risk reducing transparency and limiting community input on critical decisions. The council is particularly concerned about impacts on the Limestone Coast's agricultural land and groundwater resources. And Peterborough District Council has appointed Deirdre Albrighton as acting CEO until November next year. Kristen Clark, who's been acting CEO since May, will transition to a consultant role, focusing on finance and infrastructure. Ms Albrighton will oversee governance, community engagement and the 2026 council elections, while Mr Clark will continue critical strategic work, including the long-term financial plan and asset management plan. The arrangement ensures a smooth transition through the upcoming local government election process. And in Western Australia, Perth's Lord Mayor Bruce Reynolds has abandoned his controversial $125,000 workplace culture review after intense public backlash and legal challenges, throwing the city of Perth into crisis, according to ABC News and WA Today. The review, which Reynolds pushed through with just 6 minutes' notice to councillors, has sparked accusations of poor governance and misuse of public funds. The decision prompted the resignation of acting CEO Peter Mabbs, who published a scathing report declaring the rushed decision unlawful. Ms Mabbs' departure has added to the turmoil at the council, which is already facing significant scrutiny over its handling of the matter. Angry ratepayers packed Tuesday's council meeting, with some questioning why the funds weren't being allocated to pressing issues like homelessness and public safety instead. Others accuse the Lord Mayor of poor governance in approving such a significant expenditure with minimal deliberation. Lord Mayor Reynolds now plans to refer the workplace culture concerns to the incoming local government inspector rather than proceeding with the external review. He maintains he acted in good faith over staff welfare concerns raised by former employees. A revocation motion to formally cancel the workplace review will be voted on at next week's council meeting, where councillors will have the opportunity to reverse the controversial decision that has engulfed Perth's local government in controversy. Now for our global report, in news out of the UK, Reform UK has reportedly launched an urgent investigation into Staffordshire County Council leader Ian Cooper over alleged racist social media posts. The activist group Hope Not Hate claims to have found posts on an X account linked to Cooper, including one stating foreign nationals shouldn't sit in Parliament. 9 Labor MPs and Conservative councillors have called for his immediate resignation, according to BBC News. In breaking news, the UK government has delayed mayoral elections in 4 English regions: Greater Essex, Norfolk and Suffolk, Hampshire and the Solent, and Sussex and Brighton, from May next year to May 2028, citing the need for more time to complete local government reorganisation into unitary authorities. The delays have been criticised as subverting democracy, with concerns that further elections may be cancelled, while the government maintains the postponement allows for proper establishment of combined authorities before mayors take office. Dublin City Council has reportedly withdrawn a controversial proposal to rename Herzog Park, which honours former Israeli President Chaim Herzog. The move faced strong criticism from Irish officials and Israel, with concerns it could be seen as anti-Semitic, according to Ynet News. BBC News has reported on how West Dunbartonshire Council attempted to hire external contractors to remove flags from lampposts after council workers faced verbal abuse from members of the public, but no bids were received for the work. The flags, which were put up following a social media campaign linked to anti-asylum seeker protests, are banned under Scottish road laws. Similar incidents of worker intimidation have occurred in other Scottish councils, including Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire. And highway workers in Cambridgeshire have faced a shocking wave of abuse while on the job. BBC News reported that since November last year, there have been 29 instances of threatening behaviour and 4 assaults on staff, with incidents including spitting, bottle throwing, hair pulling, and a woman ramming her vehicle into barriers. Workers are now wearing body cams to combat the violence. From the USA, 35 county clerks across Colorado are urging Governor Jared Polis to keep a convicted former Mesa County clerk, Tina Peters, in state custody. The clerks say that Peters' illegal actions have led to heightened threats against election workers and erosion of voter confidence, and releasing her would send the wrong signal and pander to ongoing attacks on election integrity. Boston has joined 11 other jurisdictions in suing the Trump administration over changes to a critical homelessness program. The changes threaten $48 million in annual funding that supports over 2,000 formerly homeless households in Boston. Mayor Michelle Wu warns the new restrictions could push more than 1,100 Bostonians back onto the streets. And New Jersey Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill has announced a bipartisan local government advisory group to guide her transition into office. According to Insider New Jersey, the group comprises elected officials from across the state who will provide expertise to ensure local communities have a voice in the new administration. Up to Canada, London City Council has narrowly voted to extend the city's e-scooter pilot project by 6 months after nearly banning the devices immediately. There was a push for an outright ban due to overwhelming complaints about dangerous and inconsiderate behaviour by riders, but the pilot will now expire next May. A garbage truck driver in Toronto has been fatally struck while working on his route this week. The 66-year-old man is an employee of Toronto City Council, and it appears he was struck by his own vehicle. Police are investigating the incident. And Calgary Council has cut climate funding and boosted transit spending as its budget talks continue. CTV News reported the decision has sparked debate about the city's priorities in addressing environmental concerns versus transportation infrastructure needs. And we finish in New Zealand, where there's been lots of big local government news of late. The Wanaka app has reported more reaction to new central government reforms of local government in the country. Ruapehu Mayor Weston Curtin has warned that the government's new rates cap will disproportionately impact infrastructure-stressed rural councils like his. Radio New Zealand reported the district faces significant challenges with ageing bridges, heavy tourism loads and major capital needs, but it lacks alternative funding sources. Queenstown Lakes District Council Mayor John Glover has expressed concern that reorganisation reforms are being portrayed as reducing bureaucracy, but in reality also aim to merge smaller district councils. Central Otago Mayor Tama Ali noted the proposals signal a pathway toward unitary councils and stressed the importance of local people making local decisions. And finally, Wellington City Council has installed motion-activated cameras on Maitarangi Mount Victoria after deliberate vandalism targeting mountain bikers. Logs, stumps and timber have been fastened to trees at rider height on several trails, creating serious injury risks. Fencing and signage have also been removed in various locations. And that's the podcast for today and for the week. Hopefully you're feeling a bit more informed about what's happening around the world of local government. You can find out more by heading to lgnewsroundup.com, where you'll find a transcript and all the links to the stories that we reference. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. We record in the city of Greater Geelong in Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And we come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll be back with you on Monday with more news from around the world of local government. Until then, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for our podcast comes from Symphony 3, which has announced exciting news. It's launched its innovative Smart Glue platform on the AWS marketplace. That makes the secure and affordable integration solution accessible to government agencies worldwide. The platform includes over 50 pre-built connectors specifically designed for public sector systems, government APIs, enterprise solutions and AWS services to transform citizen experiences by breaking down data silos. Smart Glue delivers operational excellence for local governments through cost reduction, process optimization, improved decision-making and scalable architecture, all while maintaining comprehensive security and compliance standards required by public sector organisations. Get in touch to see how Symphony 3's expanded team and solutions can support your goals. Head to symphony3.com to find out more.